But first, a little bit about MicroSpace, the company. We're a 30-year-old company based in Raleigh, North Carolina. Our legacy solutions are large enterprise satellite solutions. About 5 years ago, we started looking at leveraging our people, our technology, and our NOC, and other wireless solutions like 3G, 4G. We're starting to increase in speed, increase in reliability, and decrease in price to the point we said, this makes sense to bring it in-house and start offering as a service. What we quickly found was the large enterprise play for 3G, 4G wireless only really worked in distributed enterprise, meaning sites with lots of small locations. Think Golden Corral with sites across North America. But for large enterprise, like our traditional Morgan Stanleys, it really wasn't a good fit. So we started looking at other areas that this would be a good fit. Small to mid business stuck out, and how do we sell into small to mid business? We sell with partners like you. So as a company, some of our customers you recognize easily. Some customers are down to one-ofs, and certainly in the wireless world, we're seeing down to even single doctor's offices where it makes sense to install a managed 4G service. Some of the things that set apart our managed 4G offerings from what's available in the marketplace. Early on, we became a Cradlepoint solutions partner, and what that means is we're exclusively Cradlepoint in hardware. We can do data plans on their own separately, but from a managed solution point of view, we're a Cradlepoint solutions partner. We had their first, it was a beta API that we got our hands on going back about 5 years ago. We tied that into our existing NOC, and it lowered our barrier to entry in the market and got us going pretty quickly. Cradlepoint, that's like buying IBM stock. Nobody ever gets in trouble for buying Cradlepoint. Great, reliable hardware, comes with a little bit of a price tag, but with our solution, it's rolled into a no CapEx solution, so you don't really have to worry about that. We can spread that out. We pool data multi-site across multi-carrier, so that can be AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. We also have an exciting new smart SIM technology we'll talk about in a minute. An important thing about MicroSpace's services, you'll hear about some of the other 3 and 4G providers out there that are offering unlimited plans. And those unlimited plans always seem to have a little asterisk at the side of them. With MicroSpace, there's no asterisk, and what that means, there's never throttling, there's never deprioritization, there's never any limitations on bandwidth. That's critically important. We've got a construction company right now that is on one of our month-to-month services using over 100 gig a month. If they had bought one of our competitors' unlimited plans, they would get throttled at 22 and be calling us for trying to fix the circuit. So because we don't throttle, we won't offer an unlimited because we can't offer true unlimited. We can't buy that wholesale. No one can buy that wholesale in 4G right now. Some of the areas that are really important for us, obviously everybody's moving to the cloud, so connectivity becomes critically important. We're doing a lot of work with doctors' offices moving to electronic health records. If you've got a doctor that's got a scheduling program that just moved to the cloud, their internet goes down, they don't have a way to get out, they're pretty much done for the day. One thing we get asked about is speed, and again, we don't quote the high levels of what speed are. The high levels of speed for LTE advanced are 150 megabits per second. Real world, across 3 carriers across North America, the average is 7x7. We tell our partners that up front. We set expectations. We always do our best to outperform, but if it's limitations within a carrier environment, that kind of is what it is. So we help the customer measure, determine if it's going to fit the needs, and then deploy. And all of our solutions are included with a static IP address. 3 basic flavors of how we deploy this managed 4G solution. By numbers, our CellCast failover is the largest number of locations that we've got deployed. This is anything from, as I mentioned before, nationwide groups like Golden Corral across North America, all of their stores have a 4G backup, that we control the failover within the Cradlepoint environment. They take whatever least expensive coax they can get locally at the store. That ends up going into our router via Ethernet into the WAN port. And then we do this failover failback. So the customer never even knows if they go down. They get a notification from us saying your primary is down, need to take care of your primary, but they never even notice. Failover also works very well for, as I mentioned, doctors' offices going to EHR, for anyone installing VoIP systems, anyone where their communication or their network is a critical part of their business, and that's increasing to everyone. The solution does support VoIP, and again, in this particular service, we're doing the failover failback, so I don't think I'm competing against any SD-WAN providers in here. Is anyone doing work in SD-WAN today? So with SD-WAN providers, we actually are kind of an SD-WAN light. If you've got a customer that's not ready to move to SD-WAN, we can do a simple failover failback in a completely managed environment. I'll take a breath. Any questions on failover? The next solution that we provide is where there are infrastructure challenges, there are bandwidth challenges, or security challenges at a site. For all of those, we can bring our CellCast primary into play, where we are the connectivity for a site. An example might be a Target Optical, where, again, that Target Optical doctor has got a 1-year lease on his space. They've just moved to EHR, and the free Target Wi-Fi that he was using for business communications no longer meets the bill for bandwidth, security, or reliability. They call and they get a coax quote that includes a $1,400 build on coax on top of the MRC. They can come to us and just with a single solution be up and running within a week at the location. We also have created 4 different groups, like Target Optical, have created friends and family programs for them. So it makes it more cost effective where they can share if one doctor doesn't use their full bandwidth and go back into the pool for another doctor to use without having overages. In running the Target Optical program, we've been 2.5 years now without any doctors having any overages. And they're all based on about a 10 gig data plan monthly. And some of the areas that we work in for. I didn't mention construction actually, and I probably should. And this is actually a good slide to stop on. Our primary deals are based on 2- and 3-year terms. However, we do have an emergency month-to-month service based on the same plan, CellCast Primary month-to-month. The CellCast Primary month-to-month includes all the things I've already been talking about, the router, the static IP address. We're moving this stock and upgrading this stock to all LTE advanced routers. Includes a Wi-Fi router built into the cradle point for $250 a month. We use a lot of these in construction. We've got groups that on a daily basis are calling, and these are going into construction trailer for a period of 1 month to 2 months to 5 months. We did an analysis recently, and our month-to-month services, the average term ended up being about 7 months that the router was in use. So it's, when we first started deploying these, it was because a partner like you came up and said, hey, I've got this specific need, I've got this specific problem. We created this product for them, and it's been one of our best sellers in the channel. I mentioned Smart SIM earlier, and this is kind of brand new, so I'll touch on it. In all of our month-to-month routers now, we're also deploying our Smart SIM technology. And what that means is within the router with a single SIM, I can switch you among our 3 carriers, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Depending on who's got best coverage, who's got best speed, so a lot of times coverage and signal level to the tower doesn't tell you the whole story. We can go in and do speed tests on the different carriers and find out who's tower loading and give the customer the best possible experience at the far end. So that's with AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile with the same SIM. We also have the ability with Smart SIM to look at applications, filter applications. We haven't really productized those features yet, but that's coming probably Q1 of next year. And the last version of CellCast is CellCast Assist. Again, with SD-WAN starting to become a bigger player in all of our lives. The nice thing about SD-WAN is that's usually in a multi-site opportunity where we're a completely separate physical path to an SD-WAN appliance. There's one regional bottling group in North Carolina, 20 locations that we just signed, where we're the tertiary for that group. They went with CloudGenix for an SD-WAN solution. They've got fiber, coax, and fiber and coax have the same point of entry into all of their factories, along the same road to all of their factories. So we're a completely separate path through the air. If those primary, the secondary go down, we take over and help out. I think I've covered kind of most of this, but what I will say about our services, as I mentioned with CellCast Primary, we are all about helping customers solve specific problems. So whether it's customized billing, one of our construction companies we work with just asked to separate out not only the billing per site, but then where they're going pool and overage pool, a proportional amount for each site so they can assign that to individual jobs. This was a big pain for their purchasing person every month. We helped that pain go away, helped our partner be successful in the space. We also have a number of automated reports where many 3G, 4G providers would be very happy for you at the end of the month to just get a big bill, or your customer to get a big bill that they have to pay. We don't like surprises. The best way to get paid at the end of the day is to make sure there are never any surprises. Our goal is that for you and your customers, we are super proactive in making sure they know about data usage, if they've got a runaway application, if they've got runaway usage, or if they're not maximizing what they've got. We can scale data up and down as appropriate as well. Pricing for CellCast as a ballpark for 1 gig failover, including the router, including the device management, monitoring, and our support on the back end, starts at $99 a month. That's single quantity. As we go up in quantity, or as we change applications, that can move up and down a little bit based on needs. So for the rest of this year, we're running our SPIF, which is the activation fee per device of $79, goes directly to the selling partner. That's been popular this year. I would expect that we continue that next year as well. But it also gives you the flexibility if you've got a customer that you want to try to help avoid that cost, or that has multi-site where that doesn't make sense. We can work with you and create something custom within that framework. The quote process and order process is very easy. For those of you that haven't worked with TCG before, the folks, especially in the back office, are all just fantastic. They really are very attentive, very responsive, and we try to out-respond them, which is very tough at times. For those of you that have worked with TCG, I can tell you that the supplier side relationship is just as good as what you've seen on the partner side. So very easy, very straightforward to get quotes. Again, we try to respond not within days, but within hours. We usually get questions at the end of these. What about 5G? When's 5G coming? Why aren't you doing 5G yet? Well, Cradlepoint does have 5G products. They do have 5G modems that already plug and play with some of our existing routers. But the reality is 5G as a service with AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile, outside of, say, Atlanta and maybe 2 other markets, it's just not real yet. You might have a 5G light that occasionally blinks on your phone, but it's not real for both coverage, for distance, for frequency and bands. It's just not there yet. So we're keeping our pulse on it. Obviously, as a Cradlepoint Solutions partner, we're at the forefront on the hardware side. We're just waiting for the carriers to catch up. And they've barely even agreed on the spec for 5G, much less actually rolled it out. So the challenges they'll have in the future, they've got to move away from millimeter wave frequencies, get to longer wavelength frequencies like they're used with 4G today for better distance, better penetration. And they've got thousands upon thousands of towers to build to try to build out 5G. So when 5G is truly ready for enterprise, we'll be there, we'll be ready. In the meantime, as I shared before, 4G LTE is good literally up to 1,000 meg. We're seeing speeds in LTE Advanced regularly start to hit 50, 60 megabits per second. So those numbers will continue to improve as we prepare for 5G in the industry. Our go-to for static are Verizon and AT&T. T-Mobile is still kind of working on that, so we don't offer a static with T-Mobile today. It's with Verizon and with AT&T, but exactly right. Yes, sir.
So what's the overage on the failover?
The overage is $15 per gig today. And again, if we've got a pooled environment, we can help minimize that. What we also do very often is if we've got a customer and we're not sure what their usage is going to be, we'll deploy a router in a demo mode and let you measure it for a period of 2 weeks or a month. When we actually get a router into a customer's hands, we've got a 60% chance of closing that business. So we're okay with getting a demo router out to single or multiple sites. We had a competitive situation recently with another TCG partner that had tried another carrier, had tried another service provider, and it hadn't been going too well. We got them 2 routers with external antennas overnight, showed them what we could do, showed them how to measure and right-size the data, and now we just got an agreement back from them last week. The Smart SIM requires us to switch, and that's another kind of good point. We got a request last week from a partner that was actually Cisco certified and said, hey, I want access into your Cradlepoint router environment so I can open ports and make changes. And say, sorry, that's one thing we won't allow. What we will allow is you can call our 24/7 NOC, tell them what you need, they'll get in and take care of whatever you need. But because it is a managed service, because we're responsible for quality of service, and we're responsible for that Cradlepoint environment, we take care of that within our NOC. So anything you need, give us a call. We're 24/7, and we'll get it configured how you need it. So we've got a customer-facing portal that can be for individual customers or to groups of customers. Basically, a device status and use monitoring solution where the customer, when you subscribe to this, it comes with a number of standard like use warnings, 80%, 100%, 500%, 1,000%. You can go ahead and customize those warnings. You can have, for all of your customers, you can have a global view, we can give you that, and then individual customers can still have their own individual business view. So that's been very useful for several of our partners that like to be more hands-on in how they manage. For one partner, we created his own friends and family program. So on a customer-by-customer basis, he can decide if another bill ends up going to customer XYZ if there's additional data in his own pool to give away. So very flexible with all of that data. We control all of the data side, so we can be very flexible with that. All right, well, thanks everyone very much. I'll be around afterwards. Any questions?